in Palestine, we owe it to them from across the world to speak out for their rights. After enduring 3 wars in 2008, 2012, 2014, and still living under siege, people of Gaza are still resisting and still showing strength, and they will never give up. We are here to show our community that Palestinians have been resisting, are resisting, and will always resist until Palestine is free. Free, free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
What are we here for? Yemen and Palestine. What are we here for?
Yemen and Palestine.
Who are we here for?
Yemen and Palestine.
Yes, right. I wanted to also let you know that about the Yemen crisis and the Saudis and the U.S. coalition with the Saudis and the UAE, United Arab Emirates. You know, they said that our tax dollars got blood all over them. It's time that we said stop. I want to bring Eric Resnick up from Jewish Voice for Peace.
Thank you, Don.
Get your signs. We got some more right over there, right next to Bob. Are you going to sing? It's a music station.
Oh, we're gonna sing!
Good afternoon. Oh, come on. Good afternoon. That's a little better.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Save Gaza. Free Yemen. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's what you need to know to understand the threads that run between Gaza, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Iran, Zionism, the United States, and the 2 princes, Jared Kushner and Mohammed bin Salman. My mission here is to tie them together, then put a pretty bow on them. But before I do, I want to warn you that I will be giving a full-throated endorsement to BDS as a step you can and must take in protest of the crimes against humanity in Gaza, especially, but also tangentially in Yemen. And in doing that, I know that there are people in the Anti-Defamation League regional office in Terminal Tower, right behind us, who will want to know that, so they can add it to their tally of pretend incidents of anti-Semitism, this time committed by a Jewish person, me. It's Friday, it's the Jewish Sabbath. Please join me in facing the office, and when I tell you to, wave and wish its director, Jeremy Pappas, a good Shabbos. Now, good Shabbos, Jeremy! Thank you. You just have to do that. You know, I'm old enough to remember when Jews as a whole hated Saudi Arabia, and Israel didn't recognize it. And Saudi Arabia denied all Jews entrance to the kingdom. Israeli planes were not allowed to fly in Saudi airspace, and Saudi planes were not allowed to fly over Israel. I also remember that Iran was Israel's oil supplier, both overtly, then covertly, when Israel needed extra oil for its military escapades. There was the Israeli and Iranian-owned Eilat Ashkelon pipeline. There was airline travel between Ben Gurion and Tehran on El Al, and the countries shared technical expertise and intellectual property. So what happened? Well, in 2005, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei broke the silence on Palestine, perhaps as a result of the Second Intifada, and recognized Palestine. Also at that time, Iran's nuclear program, which had actually been operating since the 1950s, and remember, Israel only happened in 1948, had progressed to a point of relative expertise. The United States helped launch Iran's nuclear energy program as part of its Atoms for Peace initiative. Also note that Iran had been a member of the International Atomic Energy Association since 1970, making it open to inspection. By contrast, Israel, which today has between 250 and 400 nuclear warheads, has never ratified the Non-Proliferation Treaty and does not admit to having them. So the reason why Iran is a threat to both Saudi Arabia and particularly Israel is because the point at which Iran develops nuclear weapons, they become Israel's equal. Iran has the ability to threaten Israel's nuclear and strategic hegemony in the region. Now, we don't have to guess at this, because regardless of what you think about Hillary Clinton's emails being hacked and leaked, then published on WikiLeaks, you also have to acknowledge that they contain nuggets of truth, and this is one of them. In an email from Secretary of State Clinton to the State Department, eventually declassified and confirmed November 30th, 2015, after the hack, she declares in the very first sentence, quote, "The best way to help Israel deal with Iran's growing nuclear capability is to help the people of Syria overthrow the regime of Bashar Assad." Now, Syria is not Yemen, but it confirms the United States' willingness to proxy wars against Iran to help Israel. And that's what Yemen is. Secretary Clinton continued, and this is the money shot, quote, "For Israeli leaders, the real threat from a nuclear-armed Iran is not the prospect of an insane Iranian leader launching an unprovoked Iranian nuclear attack on Israel that would lead to the annihilation of both countries. What Israeli military leaders really worry about, but cannot talk about, is losing their nuclear monopoly. An Iranian nuclear weapons capability would not only end that nuclear monopoly, but could also prompt other adversaries, like Saudi Arabia and Egypt, to go nuclear as well. The result would be a precarious nuclear balance, in which Israel could not respond to provocations with conventional military strikes on Syria and Lebanon as it can today. Got that? Secretary Clinton put into a memorandum that was never supposed to be public that Israel does not fear that Iran will annihilate them, as Zionists proclaim breathlessly and often. Rather, the Iranian threat to Israel is the loss of its nuclear monopoly. Therefore, to stop Iran and protect Israel's nuclear monopoly, these proxy wars, like Syria and Lebanon, and I would argue Libya and Iraq, and most definitely Yemen, are erupting, with the United States, on behalf of Zionist Israel, joining whomever fights Iran. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Can't have a country in the region that recognizes Palestine and challenges Israel's nuclear monopoly, after all. That would be going too far. And that's why Zionists and their Israel lobby are the loudest voices agitating for more action against Iran and the U.S. involvement in it. Saudi Arabia, which does not share U.S. values, except money, and like Israel, has a horrible human rights record, has interest in opposing Iran too. Saudi Arabia, which practices a radical form of Islam known as Wahhabism, which oddly has a long history of working with imperial powers against indigenous people across Middle East and Africa, sees Iran as a rival and a threat, particularly as world petroleum consumption declines. In 2015, Saudi Arabia organized a coalition of Sunni Muslim countries to fight the Houthis in Yemen. The Houthis have the backing of Iran. The predominantly Sunni nations that joined that coalition include Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, let me start that again, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, thank you, Don, Bahrain, Egypt, Morocco, Jordan, Sudan, and Senegal. The United States, France, and Great Britain also joined the coalition, and they continue to sell arms and provide intelligence that makes the Yemeni genocide possible. Before progressives blame Donald Trump with his Saudi financial entanglements, respect for Saudi-style leadership, and Zionist son-in-law Prince Jared for this, know that it was Barack Obama who began supporting the Yemeni genocide. Zionism is bipartisan. So let's talk about Prince Jared the Zionist, bestie to the other prince, MBS. Jared Kushner is the link to Yemen and Gaza becoming even worse humanitarian crises, and to Israel's increasing confidence that they can ethnic cleanse at will in occupied Palestine and help the Saudis fight against Iran. Kushner didn't start the fire, but he's pouring gasoline on it, and only avoids the International Criminal Court because of who he is. Hopefully that'll change too. As co-director of the Charles and Cyril Kushner Foundation, Prince Jared oversaw the funding of the illegal West Bank settlement of Beit El outside Ramallah, and is a long-standing major donor to the Beit El Yeshiva Center, which builds illegal settlements in the West Bank. This practice did not stop when the prince was put in charge of Middle East peace either. Beit El is considered to be one of the most political radical settlements. Go figure. It's no wonder that this was one of the omissions Kushner had to fix on his federal disclosure documents, but only after he got caught. The former president of the Beit El group is none other than David Friedman, now U.S. ambassador to Israel. Shortly after the Trump inauguration, the Beit El group held a fundraiser in New York. Thank you. At the tables were glossy booklets that say, quote, 2017 is a year of construction that starts for Beit El institutions. Facing a new policy of zero condemnations from the U.S. State Department, Beit El is not wasting a minute. Kushner does business in Israel too, and tells the story of Netanyahu spending the night in his bedroom in his home at his parents' home in New York while he was fundraising in the United States. Kushner was buddying with MBS before Trump too. He also does business with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has lots of money and buys lots of U.S. arms and has shown willingness to form coalitions with other Arab countries, and it likes Israel to the extent that they have mutual interests. To Kushner, that's irresistible as he puts together his alleged Middle East peace plan, which most certainly will be the final solution, and I use that term intentionally, for Palestine. Palestinian lives have no value to these folks. Gaza doesn't have a chance. This is Zionism triumphant with the help of the Saudis. It's why the Trump administration swallows and repeats every lie that the Saudis tell about the murder and dismemberment of Jamal Khashoggi. To them, it's small potatoes and just more collateral damage along the way to bigger genocides. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and Saudi Arabia and Israel will fight Iran to the last American soldier. That's why we must be aware and active. We can learn the truth and demand that the story be told by our lazy mainstream Zionist media. We can and must do BDS. It is a meaningful, nonviolent action anyone can take, and our duty as human beings. Finally, we must all vote, and that vote must translate into a more responsible, morally respectable U.S. government. Both Republicans and Democrats own the Zionism problem in Gaza and Yemen and other places around the world. We can and must demand that our government put human rights, not Zionism, not arms sales, first. Zionism is always evil. So is genocide. We must break the connections and work for justice. Free Gaza, free Yemen, end all genocide.
Woo! Yeah. Right on. I'd like to call up Abbas Hamida, president of, if he's ready. We got one more speaker. Go first if you want. All right. Actually, if we could hear from Martha Gravett with the Workers' World Party.
Hello, everybody, and it's great to be demonstrating in Cleveland again. I've been living in Detroit for the past 8 years, a city very much impacted by this U.S. proxy war against the peoples of the Middle East, a city with the largest Arab and Muslim community outside of the Middle East. And Workers' World Party, we've been in Cleveland since 1967, and that's how long we've been demonstrating in solidarity with the Palestinian people. In 1967, our youth group, Youth Against War and Fascism, had the first demonstration in this country during the '67 war to demand an end to U.S.-sponsored genocide against the Palestinian people and to raise the slogan, U.S. out of the Middle East, Palestine will win. And our position has not moved one iota. We still say, free, free Palestine, victory to the Palestinian people. And we have been in solidarity with Yemen. When South Yemen was a socialist country, as a socialist party in this country, we were in solidarity with South Yemen and all of the workers' states that were part of the, at that time, bigger socialist camp in the world. But regardless of the form of state in Yemen, we are in solidarity with the people of Yemen against this U.S. proxy war carried out by the brutal, feudal monarchy of Saudi Arabia. And we will not rest until Yemen and Palestine and all the Middle East and all the world are free from U.S. economic and political and military imperialistic domination, and we can reclaim the wages that we earn, that this capitalist government takes from us, and put them back where they're needed, rebuilding cities like Cleveland and like Detroit and all these hard-hit cities of the Rust Belt and all over the country that are struggling economically, while our money is used to fund evil wars for empire and domination and for big oil and finance capital. So we are in the struggle to eliminate this profit system, this capitalist system that perpetuates war all over the world, and to free humanity from its domination. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Yemen!
Free, free Yemen!
U.S. out of the Middle East!
U.S. out of the Middle East!
Thank you.